The rain hadn't even stopped yet when my life split clean in two. Dirt was still sliding off the sides of my father's grave when someone leaned in close enough that I could smell her perfume and said very calmly, "Your father is gone, and so is your place here." I remember blinking at the headstone, thinking maybe grief had finally messed with my hearing because nobody says that to someone at a funeral, right? But then I felt hands on my arms, firm ones, security ones, and suddenly the truth hit harder than the rain ever could. My name is Claire. At least it was still my name back then. That afternoon I was reduced to the girl who needs to leave. My bag was pulled from my shoulder, my heels sank into wet grass, and the only thing I managed to keep was a thin silver necklace my dad had pressed into my palm weeks before he died. "Don't ever take this off," he'd said, smiling in that tired way he'd had near the end. I didn't know why. I just listened. Funny how that one small habit saved everything. To the outside world, my father was a legend. A self-made billionaire who built a global shipping empire from one rusted truck and a stubborn streak. To me, he was just Dad. Quiet in the evenings, thoughtful, always watching like he was storing moments for later. My mom passed when I was young, and after that it was just the two of us in a house that echoed too much. He tried to fill the silence, but grief is heavy, and work became his way of carrying it. Then came my stepmother. Let's call her Vanessa. Perfect posture, perfect smile, perfect timing. She slid into our lives like she belonged there, and everyone else seemed relieved. She had a son 2 older than me, sharp-tongued, always looking around like he was bored by everything money couldn't impress him with. At first, they tolerated me. That was the best word for it. I existed. Barely. My dad noticed more than people think. He started locking his study at night, making calls he never used to make. Once, not long before he died, he called me in and closed the door behind us himself. That should have scared me, but it didn't. He looked tired, but focused. "Promise me something," he said. "No matter what happens, stay kind. And trust yourself, even when nobody else does." Then he gave me the necklace. Simple. Almost boring. "This is protection," he said. I laughed, asked him if he'd been watching spy movies again. He didn't laugh back. He died suddenly. Heart failure, they said. Fast. Clean. The funeral was huge. Black cars, speeches, cameras. Vanessa cried exactly when she was supposed to. Her son checked his phone. I stood there feeling invisible, and right after the last guest left the house, stopped feeling like mine. Locks changed. Staff avoided eye contact. My seat at the table disappeared like it had never been there. 3 days later, Vanessa called a meeting. Living room. Everyone standing except her. She asked the lawyer to explain the will, then cut him off halfway through. The document she presented named her in charge of everything. When she asked about me, the lawyer hesitated, looked down and said I wasn't listed as a beneficiary. I remember my ears ringing like someone had slapped me from the inside. "I'm his daughter," I said. Her son laughed. "Biology doesn't run companies," he said, leaning back like this was entertainment. From that moment on, the cruelty stopped pretending to be polite. My allowance vanished. My access was revoked. Meals became controlled. Then came the accusation. A diamond bracelet appeared in my room, one I'd never seen before. Vanessa held it up like evidence on a courtroom drama and asked Care to explain I didn't even have time to answer before the slap landed. Hard, sharp, loud. "Pack your things," she said. "You leave tonight. 20 minutes. That's what I got. 20 minutes to pack a life." I grabbed clothes, an old notebook, the necklace. One of the housekeepers slipped me some cash and whispered, "Don't lose faith." The gates closed behind me with a sound I still hear sometimes when it's quiet. That night I slept on a bench at a bus terminal. Hungry. Cold. Watching the news on my cracked phone as Vanessa told reporters I'd chosen to leave, that I'd been unstable, difficult. The world believed her. I sat there staring at the necklace and whispered, "Dad, you wouldn't do this to me." And somewhere deep inside I felt something steady. Not hope. Certainty. The city doesn't care who you used to be. I learned that fast. I applied for jobs, got laughed at when I said I had experience. Too soft, one manager said. By the fourth day, my money was gone. I slept wherever I could. One afternoon, I helped an old woman lift her cart over a curb, and she smiled and said, "Kind hands don't stay empty forever." I didn't know why, but that sentence stuck. I found work washing dishes at a roadside diner. Hot water, greasy plates, long hours. Brutal, but honest. When I got paid that first day, I cried over bread and tea like it was a feast. Weeks passed. I learned how to disappear. What I didn't know was that back at the estate, Vanessa was getting nervous. And my father's lawyer was staring at a sealed envelope he'd been told never to open unless I was in danger. One night, exhausted, I twisted the pendant on my necklace without thinking. Click. So quiet, I almost missed it. Inside was a tiny symbol etched into the metal, deliberate and precise. My heart nearly stopped. Suddenly, my dad's words made sense. Protection. That symbol led me to his lawyer. When he saw it, his face changed completely. He opened the envelope. Inside was my father's handwriting. If you're reading this, it said, "Then Claire has been pushed aside." This is exactly what I feared. The will Vanessa used was incomplete. A decoy. The real control of the company was hidden secured through that pendant. "You're exactly where he wanted you to be," the lawyer said. From there, things moved quietly. No drama, no announcements. Files copied. Audits started. Evidence gathered. Vanessa sensed it. She always had sharp instincts. When the first legal notice arrived carefully worded, she panicked. She went public again, painted me as greedy. This time, I didn't stay silent. I spoke to people my father had helped quietly. Workers, families, communities. No cameras. Just truth. And truth spreads faster than lies ever do. When court finally came, it wasn't cinematic. It was heavy, methodical. My father's recorded message played calm and unmistakable. If my daughter is excluded, something has gone wrong. The judge listened. The documents spoke. The trust was validated. I was recognized as the rightful controlling heir. I didn't smile, I didn't celebrate, I just breathed. Reporters shouted questions. "How does it feel to win?" I said. "I didn't come to win, I came to tell the truth." And I walked away. Going back to the house felt strange, familiar and foreign. I went straight to my dad's study and sat in his chair. That's where I finally cried. Not for the money, for the girl I almost lost trying to survive. I didn't chase revenge, I chased accountability. Vanessa was charged months later, not because I wanted her destroyed, but because truth doesn't stay buried forever. I visited the diner where I once washed dishes and left enough money to change things quietly. No note, no name. On the anniversary of my father's death, I stood at his grave again. No rain this time. "I found my way," I whispered. "The way you hoped I would." Here's what I learned. Losing everything doesn't mean losing your worth. Being underestimated doesn't mean being weak. Real inheritance isn't money or power. It's who you are when everything is taken away. Kindness, integrity, restraint. Those are assets nobody can steal. So let me ask you this. Was I right to fight back quietly instead of burning everything down? Was Vanessa pure evil or just a product of greed and fear? And if you were in my place, would you have chosen justice or revenge? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one, and if you've ever felt erased, underestimated, or pushed aside, remember this. Your value doesn't disappear just because someone tried to write you out of the story.